hard for me to judge, especially like gay guys, they're still in the closet, and I feel that like meeting people is hard.
If you're not masked, you're not white, you're not Caucasian, you are just dead fish. You know?
This is Fresh Perspectives, a show where we get new perspectives on the social issues that affect modern society. Our contributors will play a game where they pick out a statement. If they agree, they will walk to the agree side and state their reasons why. If they disagree, they will walk to the disagree side and state the reasons why. This is all in order to unify across the different perspectives.
It feels like exactly how you interact with people on Grindr.
Yeah.
And when you're
No, it's like when you interact with straight people.
people can relate to queer culture imagery in 23.
I think it's like very divided, gay culture and trans, not queer in general.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know?
The reason I picked neutral was because the world feels very, very global. Like then social media, that's given voice to by marginalized groups because like they all kind of share it and connect with it. So like paintings, like any like music artists, I feel like that's elevated a lot more because a lot of marginalized people like recognize that if we don't amplify the content that's created by queer people, it's not going to reach any sort of audience.
To me, it feels like we have a lot of queer culture online, but then in real life, depends on where you're from, basically. You don't see that as much. It's like you live in a different world when you leave your house or you're not on your phone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Most queer culture contemporary is taken over by majority ethnicity. The decision maker, the stakeholders at the media or at the art space or the funding space in various cultures and countries, those are dominated by majority and established community. So for example, people like me who forced to migrate to different culture, and when they come to this so-called safe space, I still feel struggle to find the reference point, whether what I want to say, how I want to say, or how I see art, or how I perceive representation and the imagery.
There's not much difference between queer Irish people in 2023 and myself.
I can talk about it all night.
It's hard for me to judge, to be honest. I don't know many queer Irish people. The stories I hear is that, especially like gay guys, they're still in the closet, and I feel that like meeting people is hard because people are still in the closet, because Ireland is such a religious country and people still have like a big influence of their family and stuff like that.
So I feel it was very daunting and hard to be part or call myself as Irish queer. So it is still, I feel like I'm 12 years in Ireland, and I always feel I'm just new, I'm just outsider. And now I have come to this conclusion: we are not equal, and we cannot be equal beyond passport. There is a lack of awareness of the diversity. People are reluctant to. It's not only about date or hookup, but also like just pure friendship.
Yeah.
People are not ready to hold that and beyond, and everything come to the sex. And if you're not masked, you're not white, you're not Caucasian, or if you're not like attractive Latino man, you are just dead fish. You know.
Yeah.
It's just
I've been in Ireland since I was 4 or 5.
wow.
A lot of my early years especially, I felt very much on the margins. Even coming up to Dublin initially, I felt I had to work really, really hard to like put myself out there and find people that I could form a community with. And I think because I've been here for so long, I've had the time and I've been able to navigate and kind of get around like the cultural things around navigating the like queer Irish groups and things. But what you're speaking to in general still feels very white centric. It still feels, especially things like beauty standards and things like that, you do not, if you're not white, they just flat out don't consider you Irish at all. And it's like, I didn't even really consider like the queer part of my identity, and because I was still figuring out like how to navigate like the racial part of my identity, and I think that was really, really, really difficult. So I think especially for people who are not white Irish, who have lived here all their life and been born here all their life, if you're not in that group from the get-go, it can be really difficult break in, or it can, especially like your first interactions with people, because a lot of people's first interactions is Grindr. Like navigating outside of that, it can still feel really daunting.
You can be on the hoardings for anti-racism campaigns all over town, but still, you're outsider.
Yeah.
You don't have, and that's
Exactly.
something.
I can be my true queer self because I live in Ireland. I do feel a little bit safer here. I've been attacked before in Brazil for just being there. I could be wrong, but I don't see it happening here. So I kind of feel safer here. But on the flip side, like I was saying, like to find queer people around you, to like meet gay people, I don't see like a queer scene here. Living in a small town, there's no like queer community, queer events, queer bars. So I feel like that kind of stops me from being myself and from expressing my true queerness or whatever it's called. But I feel that in Brazil I had more opportunities to do so.
Because I've been here for quite a while, and because I've like really made an effort to like navigate space, especially being in Dublin, I kind of feel like I can be my true queer self now. But I completely understand what you're saying about Limerick, because I'm like from Limerick, and like I was basically not queer for like 18 years of my life. Like I didn't come out until I was like 19 or 20, and like I kind of felt like I moved very fast along my like queer journey then, because I found a space of people where I could be my queer self. But I think there is a huge issue with it all being very Dublin-centric versus being down in places like Limerick, Cork, Galway, and there are queer communities down there. People being more so in the closet down in like Limerick, Cork, Galway, and because there's not an outreach, it kind of feels like you're like, oh, I can't really like fully express myself because you're in these different groups that have different expectations on you.
So if you have asked these questions before lockdown, I would have been disagreeing.
Yeah.
But now I'm on this, it was difficult, heartbreakingly difficult. If you are different in your look, appearance, or anything, it is hard to perform your queerness and live as a adult queer who is open for doing a lot of things that come as this term of queerness. But now over the years, I got this thick skin to navigate that, and I have understood that if you don't stood up and talk, nobody gives shit. Literally. And shared pain is always good to propagate that idea of creating community. And that's, I think, come as when you perform your queerness or living as a queer, what the most necessary thing is missing is having the community. So yeah, it is difficult, and it's why I'm on the neutral, because now as an activist I feel more empowered, and I've grown the shamelessness on me, like okay,